The Talented Mr. Ripley, directed by Anthony Minghella, is a 1999 film adaptation of Patricia Highsmith's 1955 novel. The film follows the story of Tom Ripley, a lying man who can easily master impressions and skills, who clearly has no established sense of self. In Minghella's portrayal, he cast Matt Damon as Tom Ripley. This was a more challenging role for Damon, as he was priorly cast for hero-type characters in films like Saving Private Ryan and Good Will Hunting. For this film, he had to channel a much darker character. The story begins in 1950s New York with Tom being approached by a businessman. The man mistakes Tom for a Princeton student because he's wearing a borrowed jacket, and assumes he runs in the same social circle as his son, Dickie Greenleaf. Dickie is played by Jude Law. This was his second lead role in a film after Gattaca that further showcased his abilities as an actor. Dickie is living in Montebello, Italy, where he's been loafing for months on his father's money. Mr. Greenleaf wants his son to come home without conflict. He offers Tom a first-class ticket to Italy and some money to try to persuade his son to come back home. Tom plays along, takes the money, buys new clothes, and goes off for Italy. This is the first time the viewers are introduced to his ability to act impulsively and to form personas to fit in. Once he's in Italy, he befriends Dickie, who is dating a girl named Marge. Tom shows him his ability to adapt and imitate people, and they start to develop an extremely close relationship. Tom manipulates his way in through pretending to be a jazz fanatic like Dickie and adapts to his lifestyle and interests. The two become so close they even work together to scam Dickie's own father. Despite how close they are, when Marge and Dickie's friend Freddie decide they don't like Tom, Dickie starts to feel the same way. This leads to the scene I've chosen, where Dickie and Tom are on a boat ride. In this scene, Tom tries to make long-term plans with Dickie, who then tells Tom he is going to marry Marge. They begin to get into a fight, and it escalates, resulting in Dickie's murder. The most directorial liberties seen in the film take place in this scene. In the novel, Tom sensed their relationship falling apart and felt like he had failed with Dickie in every way. There is no fight, Tom just decides he is going to kill him and take his identity. Tom's motives are extremely ambiguous and barely stated, making it clear that he has many repressed desires that the reader has to attempt to figure out. Although Tom's homosexuality is hinted at in the book, the scene clearly implies that Tom is a homosexual and uses that as a justification for all of his actions, having given no other background on his character. The movie makes the murder stem from a drawn-out, back-and-forth argument and fight that is a lot more emotional than the book. The book makes the motivation of the murder unclear, but it can be assumed to be a coping mechanism for Tom because by killing Dickie, he is removing all the things he can't be or have, while the movie makes the murder seem to be in a moment of passion. This change creates a different, more logical and relatable version of Tom. The movie also depicted him to be immediately remorseful instead of instinctually trying to cover up the crime. This change excluded Tom's fear of water as well as him overcoming it, symbolizing how far he will go to cover up who he truly is. This change eliminated a lot of the metaphors and significant choices Highsmith included to display how emotionally damaged Ripley is. And here's the clip. Just like in the book, the scene takes place in the secluded waters of Cannes, Italy, in a motorboat. Although it is the clearly lit daytime, the two are unable to be seen by anyone. They are properly portrayed living a wealthy lifestyle through their upper-class casual attire.
So tell me. Well, I thought I'd come back in the new year under my own steam.
Really? To Italy?
Of course. And I figured now, just for argument's sake, say I got a place, or say we split the rent on a house, and I could get a job, or better still, if I got a place in Rome, and then when we're there, we could be there, and then when we're here, we could be here.
I don't think so.
See, particularly with the Marge problem, you just blame me.
Marge and I are getting married.
How?
How?
Yesterday, you're ogling girls on the terrace. Today, you're getting married? That's absurd.
I love Marge.
You love me. You're not marrying me.
Tom, I don't love you.
No, I don't mean that as a threat.
To be honest, I'm a little relieved you're going. I think we've seen enough of each other for a while.
The song playing in this scene is called Proust, composed by Gabriel Yared. named after Marcel Proust, a homosexual French novelist whose most popular book explores themes of intermittence, meaning that to live means to perceive different and often conflicting aspects of reality. This ominous and eerie track symbolizes the conflict of emotions between the two boys. The scene starts off showing both of them at once, but as the fight progresses, there are lots of close-ups that capture the opposite emotions.
The funny thing is, I'm not pretending to be somebody else, and you are.
Boring.
I've been absolutely honest with you about my feelings.
Boring.
But you, first of all, I know there's something. That evening, when we played chess, for instance, it was obvious.
What evening?
Oh, sure, no, it's too dangerous for you to take on. Oh, no, well, we're brothers. Hey.
The accusation that Dickie reciprocates the feelings that Tom has is what mainly separates the book from the film, as it completely contradicts with how aware Tom should be and makes him more of an emotional and less analytical character.
You're lying to Marge, and then you're getting married to her. You're knocking up Sylvana.
Here we see that Matt Damon and Jude Law were appropriately cast, as neither of them exude an extremely masculine presence. Because of this, they can easily portray a sexually misleading role.
Who are you? Who are you to say anything to me? Who are you? To tell me anything? Actually, I really do not want to be on this boat with you. I can't move without moving. It gives me the creeps. You give me the creeps. Can't move without Dickie, like a little girl all the time. Shut up!
The music is stopped when Tom strikes Dickie over the head and stays off till Dickie is dead, representing the lack of thought during the fight.
Okay. Oh, we have to get you. Okay.
Unlike in the book, Dickie fights back, making the murder feel much more provoked and anticipated. This allows Tom to be viewed as more of a defensive character.
Stop! Please, Dickie, please!
Uttering the words, "Stop it please," the viewer is made to feel like Tom doesn't want to murder Dickie, and consequently, his shadow only seems to be overacting to protect himself. After killing Dickie, Tom is shown in the boat from a distance to make him look small in comparison to the sea. This angle represents how lonely he feels now that he's killed the person he cares about most. This transition suggests time passing, and the blurriness implies the surrealness of what's just taken place for Tom. It also shows the depth and the darkness of the water, as to symbolize Tom's secret. Throughout the scene, there's lots of sunlight until we see Tom holding Dickie's dead body. Here there are lots of shadows, emphasizing the darkness of what's just taken place and the pain and sorrow that Tom feels. This scene is a clear indication that viewers have met a completely different Tom Ripley from the one in Patricia Highsmith's novel. The film attempts to make the characters more likable for the audience and offers a sympathetic view of Tom Ripley, while the novel leaves the audience feeling uneasy and gives them the opportunity to question and piece together aspects of Tom's character and his motives. The film used Tom's behavior and personality to fill in some of these answers. The film built upon an interpretation of the character and removed much of the ambiguity that allowed readers to explore aspects of Tom's personal unconscious. To me, this scene did not improve in itself or in correlation to the rest of the storyline. The scene showcases a remorseful and sensitive version of Tom that allows him to form future relationships in the film, whereas the book makes it clear that Dickie is the only person Tom ever felt close to. Tom's personality was changed from emotionally disconnected to connected. This transferred his dominant mental function of extroverted intuiting to extroverted feeling, and made him have less of a persona when staying true to his own identity. By doing this, Minghella abolished the sociopathic traits and lack of empathy that Highsmith's character held. He created a character who strived to fit in and feel wanted, one that audiences could relate to more easily. The movie seemed to be more of a drama and didn't uphold the same amount of suspense as the novel. Highsmith's Ripley was a much more interesting and unpredictable character that was still very real. Overall, the film version did not improve the story because it was a simple interpretation of an original and thought-provoking character's narrative.